I've got a question for you. Retirement. We just saw the Rams win the Super Bowl. Andrew Whitworth says that he's going to retire on top, which I don't blame him. He's like 40 or so. I can't believe he's even still in the league at the top of his games in the starting lineup. Kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. But the question I would think would be fun to discuss would be, what about that time frame in the middle of your career, or when you see these athletes, some of them retire before their prime and some of them retire after. You think of Tom Brady. He just retired. Mm-hmm. He's almost 45 years old. He kind of said that he was going to go until he was 45, didn't quite make it there. But what do you think drives you to retire before your time?
Oof, I don't know that. I think some of it is you're trying to figure out. It's all a guessing game. Like, when is my time? Have I prime? Have I hit my prime? Have I not? I feel like I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. Do I have the means to retire? Like, I think a lot of those questions play in, but it is really it's a guessing game.
Do you walk away before the end of your prime? Are you a walk away from the end before your prime?
Well, I think it depends on what you're gluing it to. Like, so firefighters are known to retire early, but our bodies can't do that forever. And so the question is, like, do you stop doing that when you still can, or do you wait until you really can't anymore and you put somebody else in jeopardy? I mean, especially for like a lineman, his job is to protect somebody else.
Right.
And so if he goes out after he's capable, I mean, the guy behind you, I mean, you're going to get benched anyway because you're not doing your job. So, I mean, in his scenario, it's a pretty stark, like, yes or no, you're accomplishing your goal. I think it's harder when you're not. It's more nebulous. Like, for instance, how do you determine whether you're on top right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm the person that thought Tom Brady should keep going. Yeah. I'm the kind of person that I would grind until the wheels fell off the bus and the shoulder doesn't work, the knee doesn't hurt, everything hurts. I would have to be forced out of it. And it's
to what end? Like, what would force you out?
Team won't sign a contract.
Oh, they're just saying
you get the boot, and then I'll go home and have to figure out my life and figure out my new identity. And
well, that did happen to him.
Who's this?
Team wouldn't sign Brady in this case.
Oh,
team
no.
wouldn't sign the contract. Became
a free agent. Somebody picked him up in 16 minutes of being a free agent.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but that happened. Someone said you're too old.
I don't know if that's true. We'll have to look that up for sure, because the Patriots, I don't know what happened there. Did he force retirement so he could move on? Did he? I don't remember. I think he went to free agency because he was ready to move on.
Yeah. I think there's enough issue in this. There's enough issue in this topic that I would say there was some sort of forcing going on. Whether it was from coaching staff, whether it was from the ownership,
you just mean some kind of conflict.
Well,
maybe money,
whether it's conflict or whether it's like, hey, we don't see you carrying us for the next 10 years, and we want a quarterback that can.
Sure.
Whatever that looks like, I don't think he voluntarily was like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and just get picked up by another team. Like, right. I don't think that's what happened. But let's say that it didn't. Let's say that in your case, like, you're trying to determine, am I on top? Am I in a good place? Because in the business world and anything like that, like, if it's physical, it's just physical. Like, can you do the job or not? But as soon as it starts becoming like why would you retire as a broker? Like, you can still make deals. You can still do that. Why would you retire if there's no physical part to your job?
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't.
You should keep going.
Yeah, why not? You got to try to do things you love, and I think that's why we're doing this podcast. I think it'll be fun to do this forever. It's really opens your mind to thinking and doing all those kinds of things and trying to discuss topics and help people out the best you can. I really like the idea of that. But to stay on task, I mean, I just really thought it was kind of interesting, that thought process of when you see athletes and what their decision-making is. It doesn't seem like everybody gets pushed out. It seems like there's this new wave of athletes that before they break their body down too much are willing to get out. Do you think that's because the amount of money that they have in their pockets to where they're more than satisfied and they want to keep a little bit of their youth body? Or do you think there's other things going on?
I mean, put me in the same scenario. I would be thinking similar types of things. Like, I would be thinking, how many more times can I get hit? How many more times can I do 2-a-days to start up my, spring training?
Do records play in?
I don't know. How attainable are the records? Like the Ironman record is obviously on the table as long as you can last. But at that point, I don't know. I think it all has to do with how attainable is the record. If it's really close, I probably push myself a little bit longer. You got a bunch of people that are bumping up against different records. Tight end records are getting over. Like no one thought Tony Gonzalez's tight end record would ever be beat because he was a one-of-a-kind tight end in a time that didn't exist. But now you got like 3 tight ends that are very similar in how they operate. And we saw 2 of them in the same game just 3 weeks ago now. So, like, the tight end changed, and now his record is very attainable. So, I mean, I guess if the record is attainable, I maybe stay in and try and push for it. But I don't know how long I stay when, that hurts. I can't recover anymore. I'm broken again. Like, Gronkowski was in a cast, exaggeratedly, like 90% of his career, right? Like, that he was beat up.
He's still playing. I mean, he signed again, or I think he's planning on signing with a different team again. So he's going for it more. I always just find it so interesting when you see different players and you see their skill levels, and you don't ever hear about many of them talking about the records. But when you get towards the end part of your career, I wonder why that's not more of a driver. For me, that would be an extreme driver to say, I'm going to go for 2 or 3 more years, and I want to try to hit X, whatever. And maybe that's what some of these guys are doing, but I would just think it's just always so sad when I saw Tom Brady retire, and you're like, man, somebody's going to catch that maybe. You just never know. If he could, he's still on the top of his game. He really still could put up a lot more numbers. He's at the top of nearly every chart. But, man,
you're saying if he stayed another 2 more years, 3 more years, 4 more years.
Who's playing to when they're 45?
Right, and now all of a sudden,
playing to 46?
The sheer number of yards you can put up, could anyone catch it?
Yeah, my own selfish reasons. It's like, just keep going. You're going to you'll be the best quarterback in all generations, and we would have got to witness it if you continually kick that ball down the road. But, at the same time, I feel like my life's always gone in like 10-year increments.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably been playing football for a minute.
I was going to say, he's been playing football for at least 2 of those 10-year increments.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And
I don't blame him.
And he knows the game well, and he's a fantastic example of what a student of his career looks like. I mean, he's been effective since day one and is effective all the way till, I don't even know how many days this is, the last day.
I tell you one of the best attributes of Tom Brady, which I don't feel like gets enough conversation. We just saw all these football games going through the playoffs. Amazing games, a lot of offense, fast pace, quick scoring. I went to the Chiefs game. I posted that video or whatever, and it was a great experience. It was that back-and-forth game with the Bills. Mm-hmm. And I see both these quarterbacks score in 10, 30, 40 seconds, different possessions down the field. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to show my appreciation. Every time you like, subscribe, or even comment on a video, it definitely supports my work, and I just wanted to say thank you. Let's get back to the show. No one is talking about or analyzing the idea that why is Tom Brady's method of hold the football for the whole last part of the game not more of a factor on these quarterbacks? I would argue that Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen, either one of them, why did you let the other team get the ball back?
Mm-hmm. Why didn't you just keep running the ball?
Tom Brady has that many Super Bowl wins because when he got the ball at the end of the football game, you never got it back. So all we got to do is go down, have no time on the clock, kick a field goal, we'll go home with the W. All we got to do is go home and get a touchdown. You're going to have 3 seconds to catch the ball, and then it's game over. Yeah. Some of these younger quarterbacks, they have so much firepower that I'm just wondering when that becomes a thing. Is anyone going to sit down and talk about how Tom Brady's ability to manage a game made him the best quarterback that ever lived?
I mean, it is funny because there were those moments, I'm thinking specifically about that game with Bills and the Chiefs, where because it felt like so much of a shootout, everything felt possible. And I remember when Tom Brady would be in a game and the ball got to him, it was like, ooh. And we're done now because he could close the door. And it's a depressing game to watch. I will say if I'm
manager, man.
Yeah, if I'm somebody though that I'm trying to sell the sport of football, I want to sell a Bills Chiefs game. I don't
Sure.
want to sell, somebody that can, because if you think about a lot of his wins, 3-point wins,
Oh, yeah.
like a ton of them were
Well,
3-point
you
wins.
wonder if you got Tom Brady in a bar 10 years from now, not going to play, secrets are coming out. I wonder where that is on his hierarchy of importance to him of clock management and possessions. You think of being able to throw the deep ball, hit somebody on a crossing route, keeping everybody on the same page. All those things are elements, but I wonder where that is because it's most definitely a big part of his game.
Right. Well, and what it really comes down to is can I execute a first down? Can I get a first down? Because that's the way you get to keep the clock. And so it really was, can I get into the place where I can just chew 10 yards at a time? Because if I choose and if I jump out and I grab like 40 yards, 80 yards, some sort of ridiculous play, while it's great, I've given up the clock because I needed to get 4 first downs, not 1.
Well, think of the Bills and the Chiefs game, that specific playoff game. At the end of the game, of course, the last possession they had, they got down and kicked the field goal as fast as possible because that was the only option. But when you get the ball with 2 minutes left, rather than getting 3 passes to get down the field, and I get it, you take what you can get. But at the same time, what is the difference in what Tom Brady did? I mean, if his mentality is just get first down after you have 3 downs, that's the game.
He played I think he played a much more methodical style, and it could be a lot to do with like Belichick and things like that. But there's a fatigue that goes on when you are not getting a big play, when you're a big play team. And those two teams, Bills and Chiefs, the big play teams, like they jazz the whole team. Like everyone gets on fire for that. And then they play with passion and they're just in a different zone. Brady always seemed to play like in this weird professional space where it's like, hey, we're just going out here, we're going to work. And so that means I'm going to get 4 first downs and we're going to kick a field goal. And we're going to be comfortable down after down, knowing that all we need is 8 more yards, 3 more yards, 1 more yard. All right? 8 more yards, 2 more yards. All right? And just methodically pushing down the field. That is a very tiring football game to run. You get fatigued on not having the excitement, not having the win.
It is not as much fun to watch by any means. I mean, being at that game, watching them go down the field as fast as possible is a much more enjoyable game. But I don't know. You just kind of wonder when that Tom Brady thing will lead into some of these newer quarterbacks. We've got a lot of young talent in the league right now. It's a lot of fun to watch. But I think the ones that can actually embrace that one key element and put it in their game, how do you stop a guy that has a cannon for an arm? There's 3 or 4 of them in the league now. How do you stop a guy that holds the ball the whole entire game and can convert?
Yep.
That'd be interesting to see how that plays out.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that is going to be the thing that turns the maturity of the younger quarterbacks. Like you want a quarterback that can mature with their abilities. So sure, you can throw a cannon, you can out sprint the defense for just that enough to get your down. You can do those sorts of things, but then at some point you're 45 and you're trying to continue to do these things. And what you really need to do is just make sure you can get your first downs. And so I think clock ownership and things like that probably develop as you mature, and maybe not physically slow down, but maybe, but you also mentally slow down and recognize and I'm not taking away from Patrick Mahomes' ability to play chess with the game. Dude is smart and they make really good decisions. But I think your decision-making changes when you're
trying to crawl down the field,
when you're really trying to just own that clock. And that's as much your coach and the plays that he wants to pick as it is your player and the plays that he wants to throw.
Right. Here's one good example. When Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, all of a sudden he was throwing the deep ball. And it's kind of funny because everyone thought he just didn't have an arm anymore. He couldn't throw anymore. While him and Belichick are probably chuckling the entire time he's at the Patriots, saying, you guys just still don't get it, do you? Our offense is use up all the clock, get a first down, and then get another one after 3 downs. And if you can always execute the 3rd down,
I'll always
then
hit
we
my
win,
spot.
and they never score more than 16 points.
Right. I don't even need a great, I would like a great defense. I don't even need a great defense because I'm just not going to give them a chance to be on the field.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. We'll have to see how it goes as far as the development of these players. But I really, Chiefs fan here. We're Kansas City residents. I hope that old Pat Mahomes takes a look at some Tom Brady film. He's got $250 million. Maybe bump him a check. Tom's got a lot of money too.
Here's the deal, though. Mahomes has played him a couple times. Like he has felt the sting of that clock management. Like that if there's no other reason to learn, it's because that's what beat you. And I would hope you want to take that play out of his book.
But it's a completely different style offense. It's not very appealing for these young guns that can chuck it 60 yards down the field every time.
And the personalities that electrify when they make some sort of massive play in front of the defense. Like it's a big deal, and it's so much more fun to watch.
It really is. Really is. Thanks a lot for listening to the show today. I'd really appreciate if you'd like the video if you found value in it, and subscribe to the channel, clicking that notification bell so you also receive notifications for future videos that could help you out as well. If you have any questions about the content, leave a comment below and I'll be sure to interact with you as quickly as possible there. I've created a website called kbandstraining.com in 2010. We've been around for a long time with high quality resistance bands and durable equipment. I also have provided nearly 1,100 drills and videos for fitness training and athlete performance for youth athletes. So support my work. If you enjoy the content and you'd like me to continue doing what I'm doing, I would love the support. Thanks a lot for listening.